Welcome back, everybody. We are back with another few banger matchups. Things have been going pretty intensely lately. We've got some good series on our hands, and the stakes are very high today. As it is the end of the season, we are about to see who is going to make it into the playoffs, and there's just that much more excitement on the line. But before we get into that, I'm joined by the one and only the director himself. Some might give him another name, but he is our director, our leader. What is going on, Austin? How you feeling today?
I'm doing great. I'm excited. Excited to be back the final full day of the regular season here. We got some banger matchups. And yeah, you've been here for 18 months. Thanks for the
Oh,
resub. Shout out
thank you,
early.
thank you. Yeah, it feels like no time at all has passed.
True, true. But yeah, it should be a crazy night, and we have a great one to start things off. I'm excited about this one. Merely, two teams in play-in position at the moment, at the seventh and eighth seeds respectively. But the Samurai, they still have an opportunity to make it in and get themselves into the playoffs potentially.
Yeah, so I'm looking at the way things can go here. It seems like unfortunately the Drakes are completely out of it, but Ascension here has a chance to barely make it back into the running.
Yeah, so a couple of things. Ascension versus Orbit is happening tonight. The winner of that match is going to take the division, and they will clinch a top four spot. And then the loser of that is going to have to be careful because they may be in the playoffs. They may be in the play-in tournament. Everything is pretty much up for grabs for the loser of Ascension Orbit. Well, actually, Orbit has clinched a playoff spot no matter what. So if Ascension loses, they can be in still be in the playoffs. They are rooting for a Drake's win tonight. With a Samurai win, that'll push Ascension to the play-in tournament. And if Orbit loses tonight, both the Drakes and the Samurai, they're both relegated to the play-in tournament regardless here. So interesting tournament, but there's a lot of scenarios that can happen. But both these teams trying their best to win can both give themselves a shot here at better seeding coming playoff time.
Yeah, and that's what it's all about as we get down to the thick of it. So much on the line, and the playoffs is where it gets extremely intense. But this is the point where it can be even more hard to deal with the nerves, as it's one series where everything is on the line. So with that being said, we do have the Drakes versus the Samurai. Obviously, the matchup here, the Samurai looked dominant for most of the season. They've kind of fallen off a little bit, as I mean, at least if you look at compared to their early season run where they were just dominating every single team. And the Drakes have been, I mean, they have been pretty consistent, so, considering everything. Who are you going to give the edge to in this matchup?
Ooh, I'm not sure. We're still waiting for the Samurai to even show up, but they've had a lot of roster shakeups. They've actually lost their last three matches. Both of those last two were in Game Five scenarios against, one against the top seeded dissolved, or one of the top seeds, not the top seed, but one of the top four seeds dissolved, who took them to Game Five. But yeah, no Lancer now for the Samurai, who Lancer going non-playing, which kind of shakes things up majorly. I don't know who is going to show up here for the Samurai. I've had a word that Speed Demon might be playing, and it looks like he's in the lobby here. So, I gotta lean towards the Drakes here, but we'll have to see if the Samurai have something magical under their belts here. So we'll see it.
Yeah, and we do have a well, actually, we don't have Speed in here. We have Speed's beard, which I didn't realize
Yeah,
was still alive. Wow.
it's
Okay,
gone. It's
it's
gone,
making
but
a
it's
comeback.
here. It's off his face, but it's in the lobby apparently.
It's
So
here in spirit. Well, let's see if the power of the beard is enough to take Samurai into this series and have a good performance. We are getting underway now. Drakes versus Samurai, and this is one you won't want to miss. Starting off quick, we've got Koala and this one to the midfield over to Davi. I don't actually recognize this Davi member of the roster. I know Koala and Pred quite well. Do you know anything about this player?
I have seen a little bit from these guys. Uh, Sorry, I was fixing something there, but yeah, I've seen a little bit from a lot of these guys here. I will say that the Drakes with Koala Bear, I used to be Koala Bear 456, Davy or Davi and Pred. They are a roster that's been around, and then Also, if you look at Blazing Dragon, he's been in Nemesis forever, Speed Demon, team lead, and Zuzu is the only one I don't recognize here from the Samurai. But he's there taking a shot, and yeah, I'm curious to see. We've seen a lot of these guys in Nemesis. A lot of them have made some great names for themselves, but this is where it all counts, and a lot's on the line tonight.
It's time to make an even bigger name for yourself if you're on either of these teams. And Pred, we already know this man. We know that he's a threat. And he's going to score the first goal off a little bit of miscoordination on the defensive side of things.
Yeah, that one just slipping back post here, and Red, he found the angle right by Blazin. A great shot there from him, and a good way to start it out for the Drakes.
Absolutely, and that's a start that they're going to want. Taking this all the way back. But only a minute gone by. First goal scored for the Drakes. Still plenty of work to be done. Zuzu going to try and make something happen for the Samurai. Tries to get centered. Blocked by Pred, waiting patiently on the backboard. A little bit of team play in the midfield. Want to allow Drakes perhaps another chance. Attempted team play on the side of the Samurai things, but not much happening there as we see Zuzu going for the musty flick. Doesn't get exactly the angle that he was looking for, I don't think, and that's a huge pass from Fred. Not one that's going to be easy to read. And it won't be read quite well enough, but still, I like what I'm seeing from the Samurai so far, and Koala trying to make it even better, coming down the line. And it really looks to me like the Drakes have come out to play this one, but that could be an open net. Koala back just in time. Both of these teams battling it out, and you can see that they're going for some kind of unconventional plays, but they're going for a lot of pass plays. I like what I'm seeing so far as Zuzu tries to get that one on target, but he is just unable, and Rockerman, we're seeing quite a heated battle right here. It seems like both teams are quite aware of what's on the line.
Yeah, I think so. And something I failed to recall. I think I should have known this with the name. This is what happens when people have their names exactly what you expect them to be. Zuzu is actually Zuleta, so we do know Zuzu here as Koala Bear. We know about him. He's taking it all the way down the pitch, and he puts it in the back of the net.
And you know, he didn't really need a huge introduction, but he's gonna take one anyways with the air dribble past the last defender. No one can get back to that one, and Koala is gonna take it all the way. This man is very mechanical, very methodical as well so far. And the Drakes looking strong with 2 minutes remaining. A good lead, but that was a little bit risky. The double commit off of the pass left all three members of this Drakes team in an awkward spot, but Davy with the insane challenge just goes for the ball and it completely works out in their favor. If only temporarily. The demos from the Drakes also coming out, but Zuzu counterattacking. Oh my goodness, we're just seeing absolute warfare here. Everyone on the field is getting demoed.
Yeah, the Samurai, they find the team wipe there. They absolutely took the Drakes off the map, but still, they gained possession for a second, but here come the Drakes right back at them. And really, the Samurai, they've had a couple of shots here, but nothing has found the back of the net. The Drakes defense has been just good enough to hold on here so far in game one.
Yeah, and that's something to note. The Samurai does have the same amount of shots, and that's another one almost on target. Zuzu rips one to the top shelf, but denied by the crossbar, and that is just heartbreaking. That one on target as well. Pred looked like he fell into position there, but he's going to be there for the save, and the Drakes, with a little bit of fortune and quite a bit of skill, are able to keep the ball out for now.
Oh, but wait a minute, almost a shot there, and yeah, the Drakes lucky a little bit to keep that one out, but yeah, I'm really looking for Zuleta here. It seems like so far he's been the man to watch out for on the offensive end, but he's got to step up. Missing Steve and Lancer in this one. I know they got speed in here. Blazin has been a good third man, but they're missing two of their top guys in those two. And Zuleta, he was also starting for a while there, and gotta expect a bit more from him so far. Not able to find the back of the net with 20 seconds left. Looks like the Drakes might just be able to hold on if they milk it out.
Yeah, it really feels like Zuleta. Not gonna say Zuzu, sorry, but it really feels like Zuleta is kind of the key to the formula here for the Samurai. You can see him making these plays, and I mean, although Speed and Blaze are good players, Speed coming from the Prospect League is going to have to play up a little bit. And Blaze can be solid, but we might need to see that Zuletta pop off in order for Samurai to get anything going. Drake's going to take game one pretty handily here, though, 2-0. And even though there were 8 shots from the Samurai, a couple of them were very threatening, but lacked accuracy. And also, 6 saves from the Drakes is going to keep them very much alive.
Yeah, I mean, the Drakes, they may not have had the shots, only 4 to their name, but they found the net twice. And, sometimes that's all you got to do is you get the early lead merely and you lock down on defense like they did with those 6 saves. And, I mean, a great performance from them in game one and give themselves a 1-0 lead here. Very, very solid.
Yeah, absolutely. And something to note, I feel like this always happens in Challenger League games and in other leagues as well, but I feel like it's most recurrent in Challenger games where one team, they have a lot of pressure and they're able to outshoot, but the shots aren't so threatening that they are unsavable. And if one team can just continue to make those saves effectively, like the Drakes did in game one, and just deal with the offense and keep the ball out of their net, they don't actually have to generate all that much offense on the other side of things if they can just score 1 or 2 goals and remain locked down. I mean, we've seen it all the way going back to the Bishops from season 2 where they would have like 12 shots against them, but they wouldn't let a single one in. If you can keep that defense rock solid, then there's no need to panic, and you can just kind of take your time scoring 1 or 2 goals here, there, chip away, and be in great position.
Yeah, definitely so. And I mean, defense is so huge. I mean, a lot of times, we'll talk about you got to get the shots. You got to get the shots. If you're putting a lot of shots on net, you're eventually going to be winning. But sometimes when it comes down to it, it's got to be the quality shots. You got to put quality shots on net. And Samurai they put shots, but they weren't quite the quality that they needed to score, and they allowed the Drakes to lock down on defense. So for Samurai here, gotta start looking for some more quality plays. They found some demos, I think, in the last game. We saw them, team wipe at one point. So, as we head into this game number 2 here with them down in this series, maybe see a couple more of those demos and try to open up some more quality shots.
Yeah, we did see, if nothing else, the demos during the last game did open up quite a bit of chaos over the field. I don't think there were any goals resulting from it, but regardless, it can work out as Pred. Unfortunate missed touch, but Davi's there to recover behind him. Tries to get the double touch. Can't make contact, though. And now the Drakes will be in a bit of an awkward spot. Zuletta coming down the line, sends it off the backboard. This could be a shot opportunity. Blaze sends it high as well. Nothing coming of it just yet, but a little bit of a bump from the Samurai there. We'll try to keep possession, but this one could be difficult. Zuletta sends it back into the corner, trying to jump for this one. Actually goes for the bump, gets a huge bump. That might just be enough, but it's not quite. Blaze tries to take the shot. That one is blocked out, and now it might be the Drakes on the counterattack, able to get something going. Not quite, but I will say that's the most valiant effort I think we've seen from the Samurai so far. I really like how they switched up and went for the bump instead of the ball there on the backboard, creating some chaos. Looks like plays like those might end up working out later in the series.
I was talking about it there, and they almost sold out enough to get the goal, but it also almost ended up punishing them as they almost got counterattacked on. I think Blazin dove on that ball at the last ditch effort there. Oh my goodness, here comes Davi trying to put that one in, but yeah, the Samurai, I do also agree with you. I like them going for these bumps and seeing if they can make something happen. And if they can put up pressure like this one, maybe, but the team clear is going to come out as here comes Blazing for the shot. It's saved away again, and pressure is coming back. The Samurai looking a lot better in this one. Look like they want this one. Is oh my goodness, calamity.
My Lord. The ball is just dancing around the goal. I mean, I would be so frustrated if I was on the Samurai roster, but they have to try their best not to get that one almost going to go in as well. This time, it will be a save from the defender and not the crossbar, so at least Samurai can thank that. But Koala on the other end of things might have a chance. That one's going to go close. Not quite in, but Samurai, with all the pressure in the world, just cannot score this ball. They had so many opportunities, and I mean, they were tight angles. It wasn't even really huge mistakes, just very small margins for error, and they weren't able to capitalize just yet, sending the ball back. But the good news is they haven't been scored on yet either. This is still an open game for both teams. That one's going to be sent on net close. Koala doesn't get the best touch, and Zuleta will pull it in, giving Samurai their first goal of the series. And I will say, that one, I think they might have worked hard enough to earn it.
Yeah, no, they put a lot of shots on net, and there were a lot more quality opportunities. And like we said, once you put quality opportunities on net, eventually one of those is gonna fall in. And that one wasn't necessarily the best quality shot. I know Koala, he wants that one back because he didn't make the best clear, but you put enough of those opportunities, and then you'll break through eventually. And now Samurai, they've looked like they've been in control of this game so far, merely. And now with a minute and a half remaining, just gotta do the Drake strategy. Just hold on, maybe add one more for the road here, as Zuleta is gonna do just that.
And there it is. It does not look like Samurai is interested in sitting back and defending, as Zuleta just takes 250s, powering through both of them. It seems like we've met two teams here with very opposite strategies. Samurai is just kind of going all out for the pressure. If you force them to make enough touches, one of them's gotta be bad, right? And they've been correct so far in this game. But the Drakes, haven't been as effective at defending. So it might just come down to whoever plays their playstyle better, or if the Drakes can avoid making mistakes. But right now, the Samurai will be comfortable with a 2-goal lead. A minute left. Still time for the Drakes, but they haven't really been putting on that many shots. Not like the barrage that we've seen from Samurai. And here's another time where Drakes get back into their half once again. Pred up for this touch. But so far, I mean, Rocker man, this is literally just like two teams with completely different mindsets meeting. It feels like it's a battle of which strategy might be better, but also which strategy is less prone to making mistakes.
Definitely. So the mistakes, we've seen them come out a couple of times, and it's all about capitalizing, especially once you get up into these leagues. A lot of these players very solid here. Zuleta looking for a dunk and try to find it through, but with these quality of teams here, both these teams playing teams confirmed, potentially playoffs depending on how things go. You expect them to be very solid, and it'll come down to who's making those mistakes and who can remain solid. And in this game, the Samurai, they held strong, and they put up a lot of shots in this one, and this time it worked out for them, as they're gonna tie things up.
And it was a 2-0 victory for the Drakes in game 1. Now a 2-0 victory for Samurai in game 2. But something to note, the Drakes still had 7 saves. So that's one more than they got last game. I mean, did Samurai really just ramp up the pressure even more, and it worked out for them? Because that's what it looks like to me. They're just putting up huge numbers and only having 4 saves of their own, but the Drakes only had 5 shots. This is a very interesting predicament for both of these teams.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting. It almost seemed like they kept the same thing from game one, the same style from game one, and it worked in game one for the Drakes, but in game two it worked for the Samurais. So barely when something like that happens, these are the ones that are always intriguing to me, because we had 2 games, same play style, they split back to back, and now as we head into game three, you have to wonder which playstyle really is better. Is getting all these saves and finding good quality opportunity going to work out for the Drakes, or is Samurai, their immense pressure, is it going to happen for them?
Well, so far Davi is trying to respond back to that last game loss very quickly. Unfortunately, that one will hit the post, but that question definitely still remains to be answered in this series. There's been plenty of opportunities for the Drakes as well as the Samurai, but Samurai capitalized slightly more effectively in the last game, and Drakes the game before obviously capitalized slightly better than the Samurai. So we're going to continue to see the back and forth. I mean, I won't be too surprised. We'll have to see in this one who comes out victorious. Already a minute gone by. Blaze misses the read, and that was an open net, but Koala just sent it to the side. I think he kind of just missed there, but that's an opportunity I'm sure he'd like to have back, as the game remains scoreless, and the ball is headed towards the Samurai net once again under a lot of pressure. Pred up for this one, but Zuleta reads it well, gets that one clear and takes it up the wall. Not much boost to work with, and it will be blocked out. Beat to the ball is Blaze as that one's sent right back into their own half. Koala there for the shot, and he puts it in the top shelf. And that's a nice way to start things out for the Drakes.
Yeah, and Koala, he made a couple of errors. He saw one in the last game, missed the open net before, but this time he redeems himself. You always love to see it as he puts this one in the back of the net. And yeah, the Drakes, they are the ones turning on the pressure here early as they start out quickly with 4 shots in the first minute and a half here. They've had all the pressure, and Samurai have yet to even get on offense.
Yeah, you know, we can talk all we want about whether the Drake's passive strategy is going to work out, but there's also the option that they just turn up the pressure, and I think I might give them the edge if they just start going for every ball and mounting the same kind of pressure that Samurai has, as there are 3 very mechanical players on this Drake's roster. And if they can just continue to take shots, it's going to be very difficult for the Samurai to deal with, but Samurai will have an opportunity here. This one's going to bounce off the corner. Speed can't get the read. Blaze has to remain patient on the defense, but a nice back pass to Pred. Zuleta on the goal line, waiting for that one to drop. He will get the touch. The ball is sent right back, and these shots just will not stop going on net. And that one, it looked like Zuleta maybe expected another touch or something, but Koala gets a bit of a freebie.
Yeah, this one just sent up. I think Suleta, he just got himself out of position. That ball a little bit faster than he first anticipated, and it just gets by him. Tough one there is the Drakes. And now they have the lead, and Samurai still looking to try to find some of that offense that they had in the last game. It's just the tables have been flipped.
And they might get another one here. That one was very close to going on target, but just slightly off. And Samurai still only down 2 goals, but you know, this is the same scoreline both teams have lost by 2 games in a row, so they would like to change that. They will get a couple of chances at least. This one's going to be sent across, could be a touch for Zuleta, heading it to the side to Blazing Dragon, but he can't make the touch. That was just a little bit too awkward for him. Now the Drakes back once again in a menacing position. That ball's off the backboard with no one to read it. That center. Zuleta with the long clear. Pred doesn't get the best touch. Zuleta hitting it to the corner, getting the double. He can't quite get there. Although that one might just go in. It was just barely on target. That was a nice ball chase there from Zuleta, I believe it was. Just recognizing he could go, and the pressure finally pays off. We get our first not 2-0 scoreline as Blaze puts that one in.
I don't know what's happening with the Drakes right now, with everyone really in the lobby. Is Dobby almost let that one get hit right into his net, trying to fake out the defender. It's always dangerous to 50 right in front of your net like that, especially angling it towards your net, and then finally some more pressure comes through, and lucky that one was left for Blazin as he had the best angle on it as he puts it in. And there we go, the Samurai finally getting some shots, only led by Blazin. He's got all 4 of the Samurai shots right now, and maybe he's stepping up a little bit, trying to lead his team further and further, giving themselves a chance to make the playoffs here as another shot comes through, but it's saved away.
And it seems like the Samurai have realized that they have a few options to turn up the pressure as well. Another shot goes on net. And right now it's all Blaze in the shot department, like you mentioned, staying at 5 shots. And he's a player we haven't really talked about much, but he's definitely one that has a huge influence on this team's effort from the Samurai. We've seen him come out with big performances before, and might need another one if they are to secure this. But the Drakes still up 1, just have to hold on a little bit longer. 30 seconds, but Zuleta tries to snipe it, and he gets the angle, the pass from Blaze and Samurai working together in perfect coordination.
That was one of the best pass plays I've ever seen in Premier League, especially in the Challenger League. You find your teammate, he's outlet there, hit it right to him on a dime, and Zuleta takes the shot. Just beautiful Rocket League right there to tie it up.
And those are the kind of passes that us Rocket League players always dream of, Yeah, it's like getting woken up from a great dream and you go back to ranked and it didn't actually happen, you just own gold. But this time, you actually got it, and it is in the place where it matters most, where the stakes are highest. Now a tie game, and
Oh,
Samurai are about to make it even better for themselves, coming up 3-2. Not sure what happened to the Drakes, but Samurai, they're finally getting something back.
yeah, there was a huge miss in the midfield there, and the Samurai have come roaring back. They were down 2-0, and now up 3-2, and it's the last chance for the Drakes in this game number 3.
And they just have to hold on for 5 more seconds. Secure this 2-1 series lead. I don't think they're going to be able to do it. Davi has to try to keep this one up. Barely gets the touch, and he will get dunked out. Speed coming through for one more, and it's Speed. You know, he hasn't been that involved defensively, but on 0 seconds, he says, you know what, guys, I want to score 2. Come on.
I respect that, and we haven't talked much about Speed. He finds the dagger goal there, being the prospect sub up that he is. But he's played solid enough to give Samurai a chance here, and another great win for them here. And they ended up bringing the shot totals back merely, and they end up taking this game, and that's a very impressive performance. And if I'm the Drakes, I'm a little bit more demoralized than I was previously after a great Samurai comeback with some great highlight plays.
Yeah, that's a great victory for the Samurai here. You know, the Drakes might have thought once they got that 2-goal lead that you could try to apply the same strategy they had in game 1 and just kind of cocoon and wait for the game to be over while dealing with the Samurai offense. But what they didn't expect was the Samurai offense to step up and actually create some big opportunities in that one, especially the pass play we saw, and then just capitalizing on mistakes after that. The Drakes, they have plenty of chances to bring this one back, but they're gonna have to definitely play a little bit more calculated. And who do you think it is from the Drakes that you really want to see step up and try to give them the edge once again in this matchup, Brockman?
That's a good question because these two teams, the Drakes, they've had some good performances. It's been Pred who's been big, but there've been a couple of huge mistakes that have come up from Koala Bear. And I like to see him cut down in it. I know he thinks that he can cut down on the mistakes that he's made, and hopefully he can keep it calm and get it back in here, especially in a crucial game 4 here for Bin Temple, a must-win game for them. As they're trying to avoid dropping down to that 9-10 matchup. We talked about them, the Drakes confirmed in the play-in tournament no matter what happens in this game. But they don't want to have to go down to the 9-10 matchup merely, because then you have to win 2 just to get into the playoffs there. So these two guys would love to make it so that they get 2 shots to potentially make the playoffs when the play-in tournament comes around. So a crucial match for them, and we'll see if they can rise to the occasion.
Yeah, absolutely. The play-in tournament is nerve-wracking enough when you have to play one matchup to get in there. And Koala comes out with the shot. It's so close off the backboard. Excuse me. That was actually Davi with the shot. Koala with the pass. Almost an insane play. Trying to recreate the pass play that the Samurai had, but I would say even one step better. They aren't quite able to make it happen. 3 minutes 30 left, and they get another passing play. This time, Pred is accurate. Davi with the pass, and Drakes, they are not interested in this one ending in 4 games.
Now that was a beautiful play. You talked about it. The Samurai pulled one off earlier, and this time the Drakes with their own rendition, and they take the lead here in game 4 as they're trying to force the game 5 here. Fighting for potentially, what could end up being their playoff lives. Here comes Blazin'. Oh my goodness, Pred off the backboard with the save.
That was a ridiculous save out of Pred. He was just kind of hanging on the backboard. You could tell he was a little bit uncertain of his own positioning. But this one's just going to go all the way down the pitch. The defense from Samurai last back just didn't realize that this one was just going in. Can't get the read. Oh my goodness. Drakes with a little bit of fortune, but they will be up 2-0 once again.
Yeah, that's another one there. We saw it in game number 3. Zuleta, he's the last man back, and just caught off by the speed of the ball heading towards his own net, and another mistake from him. But we saw in that game 3 as well, Samurai, they went down 0-2. It's been the same storyline all series, really. Someone's going down 0-2 in these games, and last time we saw the Samurai come back. But can the Drakes repeat their game 1 and hold on? That is what we need to see here.
That's what we need to see. We gotta get that game 5, so that both these teams are as nervous as possible, and we get the best the best game 5 of all time.
I would like to see that too.
I don't think I'm asking for too much, honestly.
No. Maybe you're not asking for enough.
I think you're right, but either way, the Drakes still have plenty of work cut out for them. Already seen, obviously, in the last game that a 2-0 lead is nothing that solidifies anything. But a fast read from Koala Bear, and Koala, you know, you were talking about he's made a couple of mistakes. He looks like he's trying to remedy them in this series. He's just pulling out all the stops, tries to get that one through. Won't quite be able to, and now Speed will have a free possession. Gonna try to hit Zuleta, it looks like, but he misses the touch. I think he wanted a clanger across there. Won't quite be able to get it, and now this one's awkward in the center once again. Speed up to Zuleta, can't make the touch. And Samurai, you know, they're going for these pass plays just a little bit inaccurate. They can start hitting them like they did in the last game. Certainly will make their job a lot easier, but that miss from Speed, and now Koala will have another chance to 1v1. Can't quite get it past, and this one is dunked through. Speed, and Net remains patient and does well, but he'll have to do well again. Gets a nice clear out. Now the Samurai might have another opportunity. Just kidding. It's shut down immediately by the Drakes, who are once again not interested in letting the Samurai have any sort of offense. This one's awkward, trying to get out, and my goodness, we were just seeing an absolute barrage from the Drakes trying to secure this game.
And the Drakes, they're really trying to get back this one. They don't want to see a game 5, but you know, on the Samurai side, you mentioned that they're trying to go for these pass plays, and they haven't quite worked out from this game. That's the one thing, you know, when you're in these lower leagues, it's a lot harder to find those passing plays. That's why we're always so impressed when they do come out in, you know, Challenger or the lower leagues. But Samurai just got to start putting some offense on, and there it is. Sometimes it just taking shot after shot, and Speed Demon, the GM, stepping up huge.
And there he is, the man, the myth, the beard, breaks through one, underneath one, and just 50s through. You know, if you don't see a way over, you don't see a way under, you just go through. And Speed, he will do just that, giving Samurai a bit of hope here to end this in 4 games, but that might be cut short. Zuleta with a huge pre-jump save, but they're gonna have to make another one, and they cannot. Davi coming through, that could just end this game. Gets a nice shot on that.
Yeah, Davi just comes up big. You see the Samurai, they're all stuck there, and Davi just right over the defenders. And a nice one there is they're looking to force it. Merely only 30 seconds remaining, and the Samurai got to battle back, or we're gonna be heading to game 5.
Yeah, and it's going to be very interesting. I don't think Samurai will be able to. I almost ate my own words, but an insane save on the goal line, and that should be enough to keep the Drakes alive for 15 more seconds. Looks like we will be heading to game 5, and honestly, the series has been so back and forth. Not even really sure who this game 5 favors. It seems like Drakes have been able to create these leads, but even if they can get a lead in game 5, they're going to have to hold on to it. You still remaining with your team for game 5, or who do you think's going to take this one, Rockerman?
Oh goodness, I don't know. We've got game 5 coming up here, and man, I really don't know. Really, the Drakes, they battled back, but the Samurai, when they get in their offense, they're really good. And I honestly don't know. It could go either way here in game number 5. And I don't know. I couldn't tell you really. This is one of these series where I don't know what's gonna happen. And I love those type of series because it can go either way with the way these two teams have been playing. So back and forth.
Absolutely. And you know, one thing I have to point out, not to roast him, but just because I think it is a factor, Zuleta was sitting, he had 242 points, but he was sitting beneath his teammates there. We didn't really see that much from him in this game. I don't know if you'd agree, but I definitely think that he is the player that has to try and step up and not necessarily carry, but create chances for his team and give them a solid chance to bring it to the Drakes and close this one out.
Yeah, definitely so. I mean, we talked about him being the man to watch out for. You saw Speed found a goal in that game. Blazin, is solid as well. But I think it's gonna be a team effort here from Samurai. When they're good, they are getting those. They're getting their offense. They're putting shots on net, and we'll have to see if they can do that here, or if the Drakes can hold on and do this one. We mentioned this series, this game 5, so crucial for the Samurai, more so than the Drakes here. But a lot of implications either way here as we head into this one.
Absolutely, and of course it is going to come down to the line. You wouldn't have it any other way as we get well into this game 5. A little bit of nerves, it seems like, already. This one going center. Speed can't quite make it there to get the touch. Good defense from the Drakes as this one's going to be sent across. Seems like we've seen even more passing lines in the last 2 minutes. That pinch was actually on target. Lucky for the Samurai that they did have someone back, but they might have to have someone back again as Pred fakes underneath one. Tries to get the shot. Won't quite be able to make it, but that's already quite a bit of danger from the Drakes. They look very composed so far.
Yeah, you love to see composure here. A crucial game as they're trying to set this one up as maybe a little bit of not not composure there. I don't know what the word I'm looking for is, but the Samurai almost find a counter back with Drake's able to get back just in time, but these two teams feeling the nerves, trying to find that first goal, the so important first goal to give themselves a chance here. You know, as I always say, merely first goal in Game 5, just so much momentum towards them, and we'll see who's gonna be the one to pull it out and make the first real mistake.
I was wondering when you were gonna mention that. Now I can cross it off my bingo cards. Thank you.
There you go.
Actually, it should have been my free space, but
Hey, Game 5 is never a given.
that's true, and nothing is given in this game either, and both teams are trying to take something as this one is a little bit awkward for Samurai, but they deal with it well. Blaze trying to 50 through. This one's gonna go up. Looks like Koala will meet Zuleta in the air, but Blaze might have an opportunity. Red can't make the touch, but Koala will have his backup. This one's a little bit awkward in the midfield. Zuleta gonna get demoed for his troubles, but Blaze might have the shot. Can't quite find it on target. It was extremely close as this one's sent right back over to Blaze, trying to pop it up for his teammate, but a little bit of awkwardness. As Pred sends this one center. Koala with the touch, not on target, and it might be on target after Speed gets this touch. And when you see an insane redirect, I guess you gotta score it, but Speed, that's the wrong goal, buddy.
Oh no, Speed. He knows there's a guy waiting over there for the pass, and he tries to cut it off, and Blaze is not ready for him to put that one in his own net, and that one is painful. You don't want the first goal to go in like that, and Speed. We talked to him. He's been solid as the prospect sub up in this matchup, but that one right there, it unfortunately could be the difference in this series.
And if the Samurai does end up losing this game, it could be so detrimental. Koala going to bring it through, and now the Drakes extending their lead off of another misplay by the Samurai. And well, I hate to say it, but the Samurai don't really look like they're putting much of a fight up anymore.
Yeah, that one, a huge mistake. They're just double committing. They know that they got to get going. They know they can't allow any more goals, and that's what happens sometimes. In a Game 5 situation, the pressure just mounts. You come down there, you get scored on, but maybe Speed making up for himself there. He's evened out his one mistake, and now he's got a goal here, bringing him back within one.
And that was a nice pass there from Zuleta, just getting it really high. The rocket off the backboard, not easy to read at all. Speed coming through, remains solid. Maybe he just wanted to prove that he could score on both nets as a huge flex, which, I can respect that. But now the Samurai are still within one, might have another chance to equalize this game. And if they can, then this game is far from over. That's an unfortunate miss from Zuleta, though. Walla gonna wait under this one, try to get a flick. Won't be powerful enough. Blaze sends it away. Going to try to retain control in the corner here. 50s it through, but not going to make its way to the goal. Speed with a nice touch. Blaze could get a shot here. Just barely blocked by Pred. And they are seeing many more opportunities, but Koala is creating opportunities of his own. We saw this series start with a Koala air dribble, and now it just might be ended with it.
Koala, we ripped on him a little bit here throughout this series, but this man is stepping up huge in this game number 5. 3 goals, he's got himself a hat trick already, and he might just propel the Drakes here to stay in that top, the upper match, the 7-8 matchup of the play-in tournament. If things continue on like that with Pred, who puts it home, a 4th one in, the Drakes now feeling themselves.
And now that Koala got his hat trick, he said, all right, your guys' turn to score. You're good. I just wanted that. And Pred immediately takes advantage of it. That's just going to be not an open net. There was a defender, but a good enough shot that He wasn't able to get to it, and now 4-1. Samurai's work has just gotten so much more difficult. It is going to take an immense effort, but Speed tries to get the double touch almost off the backboard. That would have been ridiculous, but Samurai has to try to score pretty much every single opportunity from here on out. They will not have very many of them. Here comes Zuleta, tries to get past one, gets a touch, tries to flick it over, but won't quite be able to. With time running low, a huge clear from Pred. If this is another goal, then that just might be it. But it is saved away for now. Speed unable to make that touch, but the ball remains out of Samurai's net. They can do something extremely quick. But that mistouch from Blaze will not be enough. Pred can't quite get it. This one's over the backboard. Koala looking for the touch. With 30 seconds remaining, it's starting to look like an impossible feat from Samurai. The Drakes might have done enough here.
Yeah, the Drakes, they have definitely done enough here as we're down to the final seconds. Well, hold that thought actually for a second. Maybe I spoke a little bit too soon here. 18 seconds left. They find one, but they're gonna need some really good plays. As Speed found the bump, Zuleta finds the goal, but 18 seconds. I don't know, merely.
I mean, this would just be way too unrealistic of a script if
Would be
Samurai came back right now, right?
that would be something.
I wasn't really a fan of the 4-1 script though, so thanks for at least making it 4-2. Appreciate that. Either way, looks like things will be running down for Samurai. Time ticking out, and no more time to score 2 goals. They will not be able to close this one out. It was a valiant effort, especially with Speed. Of course, he's not a bad player by any means, but subbing up is never easy. And they were almost able to take the series with him going up 2-1, but the Drakes battle back and remain composed, take it to game 5, and they will come out victorious.
Yeah, the Drakes, they started this series off well, they ended it off well merely. That's, one way to close it out. Started to close it out there for the Drakes. They find the win here, and I believe if my math is correct with that, I think that is going to lock up Ascension into a playoff spot there with the Drakes win, and that's also going to confirm the Drakes into the 7-8 seed, 7-8 matchup in the playoff the play-in tournament. So good for them. That's going to give themselves 2 chances to win a game. They win one of the games there, win the first matchup, merely they're the 7 seed. If they lose that matchup and win the next one, they'll be the 8 seed. So a good opportunity for them, a very solid win. And you gotta give them credit where it's due there. But you also got to look at the Samurai merely as well. They battled with the prospect sub as well, so that's a little bit interesting as well. All the way to game 5 with Speed subbing in. So a lot of takeaways from this one.
Yeah, most definitely. Not a bad performance from Samurai at all. Even to bring it to game 5 was a great showing. And looking forward to seeing both of these teams in the play-in tournament. Obviously, they will neither of them will now be able to make it into the playoffs except through the play-in tournament. So their road did get a little bit more difficult for Samurai. But if they can make it there, at least one of these teams has a good chance of making it through to the playoffs, and we'll definitely be looking forward to seeing them. Regardless, a great series to start us off with the game 5. We've had plenty of these matches, even with the circumstances going all the distance, and we always love to see it. Fantastic series, and thanks for casting with me, Rocker Man. Always fun. It's been a little bit of a minute, but glad we got to get back into the booth together.
Yeah,
And
Jim.
we will be right back with the second matchup of the night after this short break. Thanks for watching, guys. Stay tuned.